guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to look at the principles of the law of attraction and how it ties into your twin flame awakening. Everything in your reality is a relationship. Your relationship with money, your relationship with family, your relationship with your purpose, your career, your relationship with the universe, with nature. It is all a projection, a symbolic manifestation of your relationship with yourself. And so understanding how you attract your reality, how you create your reality and then attract and manifest it into your experience through the perspective of your twin flame awakening can be very, very helpful. So that's what we're taking a look at today. Principles of the law of attraction. When we come into these bodies, when we come into this 3D reality, and we are, our mother gives birth to us, we are infants and little children. We are in essence a sponge. We are a body and we have our consciousness, okay? But our minds are open. So we're like a sponge, receiving and accumulating information through our experiences and through what we witness. So when we're little, before we begin to think for ourselves, our minds are open. We have these bodies, okay? And these bodies, they are frequency. These bodies have a vibration, and that vibration is determined by what we think, what we believe, okay? So when we're little, before we think for ourselves, we're just a sponge. We're a sponge receiving and accumulating information based on experience, good and bad. We determine the world that we live in through that. We determine the rules of this reality. We determine who we are, whether we're safe or not. We determine whether the world is a kind place or an unkind place. All of that information, we're just open to receiving it through our initial tribe that we interact with when we come into this reality. So your primary caregivers and the immediate family, the people you are constantly exposed to, their experiences, how they process, the vibrations and the information that you pick up from them, that all becomes a part of your subconscious mind, okay? So whether you experience nurturing or not, whether you feel loved or not, whether you feel safe or not, whether you pick up excessive vibrations of fear and anxiety or not, this all becomes a part of your subconscious mind. Later in your journey, in your process as a human being, as you evolve and you grow older and you get to the point where you begin to think for yourself, now your mind closes up. Your subconscious mind is not as open as a sponge. But everything that you believe about yourself, about relationships, about the world, about what a mother is and what a father is, about what family is inside of that mind, inside of your programming. And what is it based on? It is mainly based on information that you have received and collected. Now there are billions of human beings. They go through the same experience, and each and every individual has different information that they've received. They have different concepts about self, about relationship, about money, about security, about love. Okay? And that is why each individual's reality will be different depending on the information, the data that they have programmed into the mind. But what happens when we begin to think for ourselves, we shut that down and we consider all the information that that is inside of our minds, right? So once it was open, now we close it up, and all the information that was inside there, we consider that to be true. We consider that to be the basis from which we determine and perceive everything that we experience. So your subconscious mind makes up your paradigm. We are constantly receiving. We are receptive to the vibrations around us, in the world around us. And that we consider to be our reality. And based on that and our level of receptivity, we ask for and attract more and more. So if we believe that relationships are this, it's going to be very difficult to manifest into our reality or to attract into our paradigm, into our concept of what is real, into our world, anything that is sort of contradictory or opposing to that which we believe to be truth and fact. Okay, so your subconscious mind determines your paradigm. And then your conscious mind then is you, the I, who thinks for yourself, deciding what is true and what is not, what is real and what is not. That is the part of you that thinks. And the basis of your thinking, the foundation of your thinking, is your subconscious thought. All right? How you see, how you perceive reality, how you perceive your experiences, how you your level of receptivity of your reality on a day-to-day basis is based on your paradigm, your subconscious mind. You can think that yes, it is possible to be happier, and it is possible for some people to find better luck in certain areas. But if your paradigm is, in my world I am taken for granted, in my world I am abandoned, in my world I am not good enough, in my world the person who I love's issues are always going to be an obstacle in me receiving the love and the nurturing that I deserve, then that is what I will manifest. I might have the information, the intelligence to think that it could be different for many people, and it could possibly be different for me someday. But if my paradigm is that this is how I am treated in relationships, that this is my concept, my narrative, this is my level of value, then I cannot manifest more than that. That's my paradigm. Okay, so you have your conscious thoughts, then you have your subconscious mind, which is thoughts that you have been thinking over a long period of time, based on information that you've absorbed at a very early age. That's your paradigm. Those are your beliefs. So you might think that it's possible to have more than you believe you deserve. But if you believe that all you can get is, limited to your limited concept of your worth or your value, then it's going to be very, very difficult to manifest other than your expectation. Okay, so your subconscious mind creates the energy. A simple example that I can give you is that I can think that relationships should and could be simple. There are many people who have healthy functioning relationships. They are lucky enough to meet people who get them and appreciate them and want to work at relationships. I can know this to be true, and I can think that one day, if I'm able to meet someone like that, it would be great to have that kind of relationship. But if my subconscious mind, my subconscious beliefs are that I've never been a priority to anyone. My mother's addiction was always a priority, and her addiction was of such desperation that she was unconscious about my needs and my safety and my security. That I've always had to deal with people who forget that I'm even around. people who get lost in their own desperation and their own needs, people who are broken, who are so wounded that they struggle to give love. They cannot find a sense of security within themselves. I've always tried to be loved by, but it never happened. The people who were supposed to love me failed because they were always dealing with something else that seemed to be more important. Then my concept is that I am not a priority. And unconsciously, even if I do meet somebody that I think could be really nice, might want the same things that I want, subconsciously, the vibration beneath my thoughts of, this is a nice person, this person wants exactly what I want, it's possible that we could make this happen together, it's possible that we could create the ideal relationship for us. That's my thinking. And it would be nice if this person would want this with me. That's my thinking. But the vibration that is immediately activated is the momentum that has been there for a really long time, which is a part of my subconscious mind, which is my paradigm, and that is that I need to, the people who try to love me have always had issues that make it impossible for them to do so. So I need to protect myself from issues, and then I start to look for issues in this person who might want the same thing that I want, who might have the capacity to love me. But I know subconsciously there is a belief that if this person has issues that are unresolved, then I will take second place to those. That is my paradigm. That is my subconscious belief. That is truth to me. So if I find one hint of something that might be an issue in this person's life, I would automatically become hyper-focused on that issue, to the point where I would feel threatened by it, and I'd constantly be focusing on it to find evidence that I don't need to feel threatened by it, because that is the one thing that could rob me from my opportunity to be loved. And the more I focus on it, the more power I give it, the bigger it becomes in my reality, and my greatest fear will be realized, whether it is rational or irrational. The universe responds to my asking, and the more I focus on that which I am insecure about, or that which I believe could be threatening to the one thing I want more than anything in life, and that is love, I give it power, and it must manifest in my reality. The other person might have a different story, a different narrative going, but in my reality, that's the story I will tell. And eventually I will manifest that it does become a crippling issue in our relationship, and my person's capacity to show up for me, to love me, will be hindered by that particular issue, and I will say, I knew it. I will call it fate, when really I created that reality, because that's what is active in my paradigm. Okay, so your thoughts, your subconscious mind activates an energy vibration in your body based on what you believe to be truth, your past experiences, your concepts about self. That vibration in the body, that vibration creates my reality. That vibration in essence that I carry within myself, and all that I am moves out into the world, and that creates my reality. So if I want to change my reality, I can change my thinking, I can start there. But it's going to make no difference if I don't change my paradigm. I've got to shift my paradigm for my reality to be different. Okay, so vibration is birthed by an idea. Okay, and the momentum of that vibration is inspired by my paradigm. Ideas are thoughts that we keep thinking, they become beliefs. Okay, so your vibration dictates how you act in every situation. It's that emotion, that feeling, that vibration that is activated within you when you're dealing with a particular subject because you have so much momentum based on that subject that is either wanted or unwanted. And that inspires that motivates your action, your response to a situation. So for example, somebody that has never been in a car accident would think that being driven around by someone that speeds and drives a little bit more recklessly, it could be fun. Whereas somebody that has experienced a motor vehicle accident or a car accident might find that experience to be anxiety filled, anxiety driven. They won't experience it as a fun and a carefree experience. And so that is why your paradigm has such a big impact on what you create, because there is so much history on a particular subject that dictates how we behave in a particular situation or with a particular subject: money, relationship, love, romance, the masculine or the opposite sex, family. Okay. And your vibration dictates what you attract, because whatever is your most dominant expectation in that particular area or on that subject, it will be easier for you to attract that, because there's more momentum behind it than to attract something that you've never experienced before. Everything operates on frequency. Okay, we're vibration. Everything around us is vibrating. Life is a vibration. And that vibration has a frequency. So if I'm feeling anxiety, anxiety has a particular frequency. Love has a frequency. Hope has a frequency. Anger has a frequency. Fear, it has its own frequency. Everything that is a match to the frequency of fear will be drawn into your reality if that is the frequency that you hold active. All right. So if you listening to the radio station, for example, you have to be tuned into the frequency of the radio station that you want to receive. Otherwise, you won't receive the broadcast from that frequency if you're tuned into another radio station. So you have to match the frequency that you attract. And everything that you attract, every subject that you attract has a frequency. Okay? So when you attract your twin flame into your experience, it is because you have the ideal frequency, and so does your person at that period of time, to attract your activation. And then as your frequency shifts, because certain aspects of your soul self, of your karmic journey, they begin to be activated, then you have those frequencies active, and then you begin to attract different things in your twin flame. So you're never experiencing from your divine counterpart the opposite of what you are. And this is not something we want to accept, because sometimes our divine masculine or divine feminine is behaving so appallingly or so disrespectfully to the connection that you cannot possibly imagine that will be you. You do not, we feel so opposed and such contempt to the way that they're behaving that we can't possibly see that we've got the very same vibration active. We just don't see it. You cannot manifest into your reality the frequency of something that is not a match to who you are. You've got to be holding that frequency active for that to be manifesting in your experience. So if you're experiencing your twin flame to be in the vibration of betrayal and sabotage, it's easy to take the higher ground or to be self-righteous and to be like, I honor this connection and I would do anything for it. I would never do what my divine counterpart's doing. But you must be holding the vibration, the frequency of betrayal and self-sabotage active to be able to manifest that into your reality. Their physical behavior, their actions, their behavior is a response to the frequency, to the energy vibration. Okay, You have to change your paradigm if you want your reality to shift. If you want, you can think the most amazing thoughts about love. You can think about how it works out sometimes, how if you meet the right person you can live happily ever after. You can think that there are good people in the world, and you could be lucky enough to meet one. You can think about all the love that you've given and how much you deserve it. And then there is the paradigm, the subconscious belief that, so this is how it can go. I'm a good person. I've given so much love, and I deserve to be loved. And then the subtle subconscious thought is, but for some reason I just never get to have it. I've only experienced being taken for granted, and I don't want that to happen again. So how do I avoid that? That subconscious thought, that frequency and the vibration of that thought is being taken for granted, low self-worth, low value, the fear of meeting more people who would take you for granted, the sadness about missing out on opportunities to meet people who can treat you well. And so what's active is, I meet people, I meet the bad bunch. I don't get to have the lucky breaks. I'm not recognized, I'm not valued, and that subconscious, that vibration is what you manifest with. Because even though you have the ideal thought, you've never had a lot of experience that sort of complements or aligns with this ideal thought. So there's not a lot of belief, there's not a lot of faith behind it, it's a hope. But it's easier to believe the subconscious thought because there's so much experience behind it, there's so much momentum of sadness, of heartbreak, and so that's what's most activated in that moment, and that's what you attract more of. Sadness, heartbreak, being taken for granted. It is not intentional. It's not what you want. You're trying to think all the right thoughts. You're trying to say all the right things. But whilst I'm thinking about how beautiful it is that there are so many amazing mothers in the world, and that I've met so many amazing women who were willing to mother me, and this is, I'm speaking from personal experience, what it would activate whilst I'm in the presence of a woman who is being kind and loving and wanting to take care of me because my biological mom couldn't. Even though I was in the presence of that and I was thinking about how amazing it is, what was activated was the subconscious mind, and how it's so sad that something is wrong with me and wrong in my life, that my own mother isn't willing to do what they are. And so this is why it is so important to understand that you can read all the books in the world. You can study a subject. You can watch all the videos. If you do not go through a paradigm change, a paradigm shift, if you do not change your paradigm, your reality cannot change. You can be the most knowledgeable on a subject. Your reality cannot shift beyond your paradigm. Okay, guys, so comment, let me know if it resonates. Give me your thoughts. You know, this is me sharing the information that I have and the experience that I've had with clients. There, you know, there's a lot of information about how to manifest, and how to manifest a great relationship, how to manifest money, and so forth. And they make it seem so simple because it is simple. It's simple once you get it. It's simple when you're a match to it. But when you're not a match to it, it's not that simple. And, you know, then we hear things like, yeah, you should change how you think and all. And those are great places to start, but it's not going to shift your reality into a new place if your paradigm does not go through change, and significant change in the areas where you seriously do not like your reality. So now, how does a twin flame awakening help you to shift your paradigm? Because all of your fears, all of your triggers, all of your karma is brought to the surface with the twin flame connection, with your twin flame awakening. Your divine counterpart behaves in all the ways that you cannot stand. But where in the past you might have been able to detach and disconnect from people or situations that trigger you, because you would automatically make them bad because they're the source of that trigger, you're not able to do that with your divine counterpart. And the reason why you can't do that with your divine counterpart is because where we might have avoided our growth, the lessons, the experiences that we needed to evolve and to grow and to get out of our own way with other people, we avoided it because we just cut them off. We just make them the bad guy. When you meet your soul, a symbolic manifestation of the part of your soul and a part of yourself that you avoid, that you've been running from, that you've been afraid of. When you're forced to meet that part of yourself, and your natural instinct is to judge it, to resent it, to have contempt towards it, and to cut it off, but you can't do it because this awakening gives you the opportunity to meet yourself in such a profound way. And this is why with the twin flame, even though there is so much about the connection that you just cannot stand and you struggle to come to terms with, you can't just detach from it. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. You become more and more consumed by what your twin flame is doing. You become more and more obsessive. You become more and more. You cannot function until you get this right, because it's a soul awakening. Your soul is calling to you, and you will not have peace until you've heard it, until you've recognized, and until you've let in the evolution and the growth. Okay, and that's how your twin flame awakening helps you to shift your paradigm, because suddenly you ask different questions. You are forced to ask different questions. You are forced to really look in the mirror, and you are forced to face and reckon with things that you are used to instinctively just running from and avoiding and projecting onto the other people in the story. So I always say in my coaching, I say, every person that you're dealing with, especially the ones that rub you up the wrong way, your instinct might be, let me just cut them out and then I'll have peace. But they're a reflection of what is happening in the relationship with you. So if they're reflecting disharmony, that means that discord and disharmony is a part of your vibration and your frequency, and you can cut them off. It's just going to come to you in other forms, through other people. Every person coming into your experience is actually serving you. And if you don't see that, if you just see the unwanted experiences and the uncomfortable experiences as something that is happening to me, and I don't deserve this, and so I'm going to cut these people out, you're not learning. And this is why we keep attracting the same scenarios in different people, because you can run away from the circumstance, you can run away from the person, you can run away from the situation, but you cannot outrun your vibration. It will go with you wherever you go. It'll follow you until you shift your paradigm. You cannot send out a different frequency, and you will not be receptive of a different manifestation. Okay, so the type of thoughts that you think, the type of thoughts that you think, they're based on a type of conditioning which has taken place early on. As I said, subconscious mind, that is your conditioning. And if you want to produce a positive outcome, you have to change your conditioning so you can change your thoughts. Okay? The quality of your thoughts. You can have good thoughts, but the vibrational quality of your thoughts is always going to depend on your paradigm. Okay? Some people can have all of the right information and a great education, but their lives are poor. I shared one of the influencers that I follow on YouTube video about being careful about who you follow, who you listen to. Some people drive great cars, they live in a great apartment, and they, you know, make good money. They make good money, but their lives are hollow. Their lives are empty. They don't have good relationships with their families. They don't have a good relationship with themselves, not really. The value of your life needs to be about more than the money. You know, the quality of your life needs to be about more than the money. And when the quality of your life is of a high frequency, of a high value, then the money must come. But like I say, there are people who on paper have great lives on paper. They have all the qualities that you might think you want in a relationship on paper. But energetically, their vibe is really poor. So, information is not going to shift. And that's why you can have people who have numerous degrees and they are still struggling to figure out what it is they should be doing with their lives. And you have people who didn't even finish college and they have passion-driven lives and they're successful. And everybody thinks they're just lucky. Luck has nothing to do with this. So when we look at the twin flame connection, you can watch a million twin flame videos. You can try and get all the information that you want about what a twin flame is, how it works, how to get it, come into union. You know, you can gather all the information about your twin flame's personality, their favorite this, their favorite that, and you can try and know everything about them to try and figure them out. But it is going to be pointless, because the only thing that matters is your frequency and your vibration. The only thing that matters is your paradigm. How do you see the world? How do you see relationships? How do you see love? How do you see yourself? How do you see your experience when things are not going your way? Do you see it as doom and gloom, or do you see the value in the contrast? You are a highly evolved spiritual being going through an awakening, but your thoughts do not match who you are often. And this is what contributes to the discord and the disharmony, to the unhappiness. And then we have no choice but to blame the other person on what they're doing. Okay, you have to change the paradigm. And this is why process work is important. This is why going back and sifting and sorting through the thoughts. This is why being open to finding higher vibrational perspectives to your experience day to day is so helpful. You have to be willing to go to learn to detach from everything that's happening outside of you and to enhance and really work on the relationship with self, because your relationship with self is everything in creating your reality, and it's everything in connecting with and creating an environment of greater unity with your divine counterpart. You want to court yourself. You want to fall in love with yourself once again. And if you want your divine counterpart to feel safe around you, if you want your divine counterpart to be honest with you, if you want your divine masculine to respect you, then you've got to start doing that with yourself. You've got to be willing to be brutally honest with yourself. You've got to be willing to appreciate yourself. You've got to be willing to show up for yourself, you know. And often we, as I say, we don't see these tendencies and these characteristics within ourselves. I had a client the other day who was talking about how her husband is the one who's robbing her of all of her peace. She loves and adores this man, but the dominance in the frequency that she's sending is not, I love and adore my partner. It is, my partner is the one who robs me of my peace. And so obviously her partner has to respond to that vibration, and her partner continues to be that and continues to do that. And if another self-concept is, I want to be with people, I want people in my life who contribute to my peace, then there is also an energetic repulsion that's taking place, with it's creating separation between her and her partner. And she thinks it's just happening to her, but it's not. The distance and the gap there, she's actually asking for it and manifesting it through her vibration and her frequency. And towards the end of our session, I was able to very subtly point out to her how she's not very, very present with herself, and how she's not particularly honest with herself either. The main point that she presented to me was that her partner was not emotionally aware of his feelings. He wasn't emotionally aware or emotionally conscious. And she was able to see through our session that she's not as emotionally in touch with herself as she'd like to believe. And so if she wants him to be more emotionally forthcoming, more emotionally aware, more emotionally conscious, she's got to become that for herself in her relationship with herself. Okay, so paradigm. I've explained what a paradigm is. Okay, now the paradigm, how does our paradigm influence our twin flame connection? Most of our lives, and this is what I said in part 1 of this talk, most of our lives, so we're a tripod being, mind, body, and soul, but most of our lives we just function through these first two aspects of ourselves, mind and body. The soul, maybe when we went to church for an hour on a Sunday, or when we went to mosque for an hour on a Friday, or whatever the case may be. The soul, we've not really had as much education or emphasis put on feeding the soul, connected. What God, we've predominantly been taught that God is this being that is out there in the sky, in the heavens, separate from us, and we're just trying to please this massive big being so that he doesn't ruin our lives. Our concept of what God is really been as warped, and our concept of our soul, most people don't even really know what the soul is. Many people believe that the soul is only that only humans have the privilege of having a soul. We're so disconnected from nature, we're so disconnected from the force of life, from love. Our understanding of who we are as soul beings, of our connection to God, there's this hierarchy that we automatically have in our minds, and your relationship with your soul, if you want to shift your paradigm in a way that it has a positive impact on your twin flame connection, it has to have a positive impact on your relationship with your soul, which is yourself, your true self, your eternal self. Your soul is connected to source, that which we call God. There is no separation. So if you want to shift your paradigm, if you want to change your paradigm so that you can have the outcomes, the harmony in your twin flame awakening, you have to be willing to change the paradigm around how you see yourself, your understanding of who you are as a soul being, of what God is, what your faith is, not your subconscious, and to really evaluate whether your subconscious belief of who you are in relation to creation and to God, you have to be willing to reevaluate that and see whether or not those subconscious, what we've adopted from others, about what this all is, if it's serving us or if it needs to be adapted according to what you find to be your own truth. Because you have to have a harmonious relationship. You can't, if your paradigm is based on a relationship where you have a soul, you're not quite sure how it works, so if it holds any value, all you know is that you have to prove yourself so that you can deserve a modicum of happiness. There is this big man in the sky who is judging you constantly, judging your behavior, and you're not the primary focus. There are billions of other people, and maybe they're more deserving of you, of comfort, of security, of satisfaction. So you're constantly in competition with the rest of the world for this pie, so you can get a tiny piece of it. You mustn't expect too much, because you are lucky to be here, and you are this measly human being that is imperfect, that's still trying to gain some sort of approval from this thing that we call God. Think of it. If that's your relationship with that which is representative of your soul, your twin flame, your counterpart is your soul self, then that same dynamic should be at play there. There's separation between us. There's a hierarchy, and we've got to compete for that hierarchy. Who's in, but there's the separation. There's this gap between us. We don't get one another. I'm here and he or she is there. I'm not a priority. I've got to compete for a small piece of his love, his or her love and attention. I've got to prove that I'm worthy. You see how your paradigm, your concept around who you are as a soul, your relationship with soul, and that which you call God has such a big impact on your relationship with your twin flame. On how it manifests, their behavior, what is done, how you respond. And sometimes you respond so tiny, your response is so small in comparison to who you really are. But if you see yourself as being small and insignificant in relation to that which we call God, then can you be surprised? The conscious mind has the ability to choose thoughts. Okay, the subconscious mind, wide open, just like a sponge. That's all we were doing. We were just absorbing. And that's why you need to go through a process of sifting and sorting. You've got mind, body, soul. Mind is your programming. This needs to be readdressed. This needs to be taken another look at. And when you discover that there are some concepts, there's paradigms in relation to certain relationships you have in this 3D reality that you need to shift and change. You do that by changing how you use your tool, your behavior. You also do that by choosing where you focus and how you focus. You've got to replace those concepts, those self-concepts, to shift your paradigm, right? And you've got to get to know who you are as a soul. How do you have a relationship with your twin flame when you have no relationship with your own soul? When you don't even listen to what your intuition is telling you, The subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. So you give it the information, right? You give it new information about what is happening in your reality, and it will begin to see your reality as different. Okay. Our subconscious mind is programmed genetically as well. Okay, so we came into these bodies. This tool, this vessel, has DNA, so it has old programming, and some of it really serves us and some of it is a little bit outdated, and you are the only person that can figure that out. But you've got to decide whether it serves you now or not, because you get to decide. You have control. You're the director. And then also there are environmental factors that contributed to our subconscious mind. like I said earlier on, your experiences with your primary caregiver, the things you witness. If you were a little one in the environment of people constantly abusing substance and then abusing themselves and abusing one another and abusing themselves and neglecting you, then that really shapes your concept of what relationships really are and what this world is that you've come into. So you, as the baby, you were programmed with ideas, with thoughts, and with images that have become a part of your stored data. And that's become your narrative, your story to date. Okay. And you get to decide whether that story perpetuates to the end of your lifespan or whether or not you change the next chapter. So your conscious mind, as I said earlier on, begins to develop when you begin to think for yourself. But the reality is that most of the time our thinking is based on the subconscious mind, as I've briefly explained earlier on in the video. So you will automatically find yourself thinking in harmony with the paradigm that is already there. It will not be your automatic to oppose the existing paradigm, which is based on your ideas, thoughts, and images, which has been passed down to you. Okay. To avoid discomfort, okay, you will think in harmony with how everybody else around you thinks and with how what you've been told to believe. Okay. But what you need to know is that your paradigm is the basis for creativity. Your paradigm is your God force, your subconscious mind. And so once again, how you see yourself as a soul being, whether if you see it through limitation, if you have the belief that everything is happening to me, I just need to be, there's some other force that's dictating all of this. I don't get to say, I'm just unlucky, and sometimes I get lucky and that's just the way it is, but there's nothing I can do about it. That is not a very empowered perspective, and so you won't live a very empowered life. You will find that you're constantly reacting to choices other people have made, to actions other people have taken. Everybody else dictates your reality then. So in your twin flame awakening, you want to get clear about how you see the world, how you see your reality. Do you understand that you are creating your own reality? Do you understand that you are God force? You're a creative force. You're connected to God. Your soul self is your true self, and that is not that's not sort of your soul doesn't just find a space to fit in your body. Your soul is everywhere around you. This body is a tool, a vessel that is being used by your soul to have this human experience. And so is your programming. And you get to decide how you change and shift your paradigm to create a new reality. But everything happening in your twin flame connection is based on your paradigm, your concepts, your beliefs about who you are in relationship, who you are as a soul being, what your relationship with God is. Is it based on fear? Because then you will have nothing but fear manifest. Your deepest fears will continue to manifest in your 3D connection with your twin flame, and so forth. So based on the information that I've given you and my own perspective, please keep in mind that it is my own perspective. This is what I know to be true based on what I've been shown by Spirit and based on the work that I've done with twin flames. All right? You can use the laws of the universe to your advantage, but you need to understand what they are. And you need to come to realize that nothing is going to change in your reality unless you are willing to go through a process of change. And what you want to change, if you're not happy with your relationship with money, if you're not happy with your relationships in love, if you're not happy with your twin flame, if you're not happy with in any area of your life, but this video is for the twin flame. So what you experience with your twin flame, you're also experiencing in other areas of your life. If you find that your twin flame doesn't value your currency, your time, your energy, your love, then it'll show up in your money, where you're being taken advantage of financially, where your money, it's just not abundant, it's never ever enough. And it doesn't matter how much time and effort you put into your work, you never make enough, and so forth. So your twin flame awakening really, really serves you to ask the right questions, and to then be willing to go through a process of doing your work to help to shift your paradigm, to shift your thinking, and then therefore to shift how you act and behave in the world. And when you begin to look at it that way, you'll realize you're a lot more empowered than you thought you were. I hope you enjoyed this talk. Comment, let me know. I will see you guys when we chat a little bit more about the subject in the next part 3, where we will be looking at the runner-chaser dynamic a little bit more closely based on the laws of our universe. Okay. And we're also going to look at the stages of the twin flame awakening, to help you, to just give you a different perspective, my perspective. If you're interested in that, please subscribe. Click the notification bell so you can see when I do post. You can also follow me over at Instagram, where I do let you know when I've posted certain videos from time to time. And if you're interested in a personal reading, or you'd like to sign up for my twin flame coaching, you're welcome to contact me. My email is in the description box below. Love and light. I'll chat to you guys next time. Bye now.